What I'm going to discuss with you now is data handling. Let's begin with some basic examples, some real life examples. Suppose your class teacher comes with an attendance register and this is the month of August. So this is August, right? And let's say that on the attendance sheet, or if it's a register, then let's say on the sheet of for the month of August, you have some columns like serial number, or it should be roll number, right? Because you are in a classroom. So this is roll number. Then let's say you have name. Then if it is day 1, if it is 1st of August, and let's say it starts with Monday, so this will be Monday. And then 2nd of August, it will be Tuesday. 3rd of August, let's say it comes on Wednesday. 4th of August, let's say it will come on Thursday, and so on, right? And suppose it is 31st of August, right? Now, let's take any random, let's say it comes on Sunday only. Okay, use a white blue only. Okay, not necessarily that this is accurate, but let's suppose. So this, it's the attendance register looks something like this. Okay, and let me draw it here. Like this, and then so this column 1, this 2, this 3, and so on. Okay, let's suppose your attendance register looks something like this. Okay, so this is roll number and this is name. Let's say roll number 1 and name is, let's say, whatever, A. Roll number 2, it's B. Roll number 3, it's C. And let's suppose there are 50 students. Okay, not 50 because then it will be short of alphabet. Let's say you have 22 students, right? So we will come here. Okay, so roll number 1 belongs to A, roll number 2 belongs to B, roll number 3 belongs to C, and let's say roll number 22 because there are total 22 students in a class, and this is person V. Now on day 1, that is 1st of August, it's Monday, and if this student is present, then here it will be P, or if that student is absent, then that will be A. Same for everyone, right? Either it can be P, either it can be A. That is present and absent, present and absent, present or absent, sorry, not and. And similarly for the 2nd of August, 3rd of August, and 4th of August. So now the same format of attendance sheet would be for every month, right? It would be of the July also, for the month of June also, for the month of May also, and so on. So for every month, your class teacher collects your attendance data, right? Now, if you can clearly see that you have number of rows, right? If I have to draw these rows also, then there are number of rows and there are number of columns. And what actually you are doing it is you are collecting data of attendance, of their presence in the class, whether that student is present or not, or that student is absent or what. So for the whole year, your teacher collects your data, and let's suppose that at the last of the session, when your session ends, your school decides, okay, we have to award all those students who were, who are having 100% attendance throughout the session. So how will they check that? Of course, they will go to their attendance register if that is a manual one, that is if that attendance is being recorded only on the register and not on the computer. If it is being recorded on the computer, then that's very easy for them to fetch the data and just tell that who all were present throughout the session and are having 100% attendance. And even if they are taking help of register, your attendance register, then also they can tell who all students were present throughout the session and are having 100% attendance. And on the basis of that, students are awarded. And not only award, maybe that school has a criteria that you should have 75% attendance or 80% attendance, and below that you are not eligible to sit in the exams. So even for that case, they will take the help of this attendance register, or let's say the data that they have collected. So on the basis of that, they can tell whether you are eligible for the exam or not. Now you can clearly see that this whole data collection actually contains some numbers, actually contains some names, again some not names, but some kinds of words, not exactly the number. And this is one of the example, right? So what actually they are doing, they are actually collecting data. They are actually collecting data, and data is, in this case, is a fact. Is a fact. Why it's a fact? Why it's a fact? It's a fact because if your teacher says that on the 4th of August, the roll number 1, that is the person A, was absent, and if this student challenges his or her teacher that you are wrong, I was actually present on that day, then how will your teacher prove that yes, what the teacher is telling is correct or what you are telling is correct? So of course, the teacher will show you the attendance register and you will cross verify what teacher is actually saying. And if that is true, or if that is what you are saying is true, or what your teacher is saying is true, is actually what is a fact, right? The teacher recorded the data and it is being presented to you again that, okay, check it, that's a data, and that is actually a fact. Why I'm saying this is why I'm, putting emphasis on this word fact, because that's really very important when you talk in the terms of science, right? How? We will discuss that very shortly. So what I'm trying to show you here is a kind of data handling. Data handling is, the first process is actually what? Data collection, right? This data handling will come later after the collection. Like the teacher collected the data, and this is one of the examples of the many examples of real life examples of data collection and data handling. And then maybe that this whole information is being stored in some office of your school, because maybe this data could be used in your next session. Okay, so maybe they wanted to check what was your performance, like in the terms of attendance in the previous year or in the 2 years back. So all these things are being stored maybe in some computers, or maybe just in the form of files and all, or in the form of some sheets and all. They are storing that, and they can handle these data that they are getting in the future. Let's take some other example. Let's take some other real life example. If you are planning some party, right? You are planning some weekend party, and your mother asks you that, kid, why don't you do one thing? Just make a, make a sheet writing all the people who are coming, and along with opposite to their name, just write down all the, number of family members that will come along with that person. So you write what? You start with some serial number. You are making a sheet. You are actually preparing some data collection, and this is one column, right? Then you write name. This is another column, and then you write number of family members, number of family members. So your mother has asked you to prepare this sheet. You'll write it serial number 1, Mr. X, number of family members coming, let's say 4, serial number 2, Mr. Y, number of family members, let's say 6, and so on. Now, on the basis of this, what would be important is this particular section. Let's say that the count is coming to be 100. Now, your parents would be knowing that what arrangements they have to make, right? Like what all edible items is to be ordered, what all drinks should be ordered, and in what quantity actually, because that is very important. Now, these are some examples of data collection of some real life. Okay, they are very basic that you do at your home or in your class. Let's move one step further and see that where this data collection and then data handling is important. Suppose you're watching television, you are watching news, and your news says that the anchor tells you that, you know what, this is the month of August, and like it's today's 22nd of August, today's 22nd of August, and till 22nd of August, in the month of August, we experience some rainfall. Let's say rainfall of any amount. Okay, let it be any amount. We experience this much rainfall, and this is 2019. And then she tells, or the anchor tells you, you know what, in the 2018 we experienced this much rainfall, any number. So what your anchor is trying to tell you is that maybe this year it's really very low rainfall or really very heavy rainfall. Okay, and opposite to these data, that is low or heavy, they would be telling you that, you know, it's low, and this much low rainfall was experienced last time in the year, let's say what it would be, let's say 2001. You know, this much rainfall, this low rainfall was experienced only in the last time in the month in the year of 2001. And if it's heavy, let's say they would tell you that it was in 1995, that this heavy rainfall in the month of August till 22nd of August was we experienced in 1995. Now, just pause for a moment and just think that how can they tell all these data? Where are they getting these data from? So the answer will be that every city or every state or every country, they all have their weather department. They all have their weather department, right? They all have their weather department. Now these weather department would be having some data, right? They would be collecting data of rainfall, they would be collecting data of temperature, they would be collecting data of some whatever, maybe snowfall and all. So all these data are being collected in with weather department, and they would be telling to these news agencies, or they would be releasing some bulletins every day that to tell the news agencies that what's the condition of temperature actually, or what's the condition of rainfall actually, or what's the condition of snow actually. Even if you can swipe your mobile and go to the weather section, they can clearly tell you that, you know what, today at this time it would rain, it would be sunshine, or what would be the temperature for the next 10 days or 12 days. So these are some of the examples. Now if you are thinking that how did they tell actually that it was low or heavy, and last time it was in the year of 2001, and last time it was in the year of 1995. Of course, with the data, they can compare very easily that when was the last time they experienced such rainfall or such temperature or snowfall, whatever. Let's take one more example so that you can understand the importance of data handling, and that's not very basic one. Let's say these are some hospitals of any city. Okay, these are some hospitals: hospital 1, hospital 2, hospital 3, hospital 4, and hospital 5. Let's say these are the hospitals of any city, and in the center is an office, central office. Okay, now this central office actually, suppose a child takes birth here, a child 1 takes birth here. So when this child is born, all the data of child, that is uh, the parent's name, that is the father's name, then the mother's name, then the grandfather's name, the temporary address, the permanent address, the phone number, and all that. So all these data, is with the hospital. And let's say child 2 takes birth here, and the same data is being collected here. Child 3 takes birth here, and same data is being collected here also. Then child 4, then child 5, and maybe let's suppose only in this case we have 5 child that took birth in a single day. So all these data of these children, these data will be sent to the central office. So the data from each hospital is being sent out to to this central office. It's being sent out to this central office, and the central office is actually maintaining the data, maybe for the particular day, and there could be a separate record for the months, and then for the years. Okay, that how many children took birth in this on this day, in this month, or in some particular year and all. So on the basis of this, your whole information, like the child's name, or the father's name, the mother's name, the grandfather's name, and all, for this particular person is being has been sent to this central office, and they have all the information of that particular child. And also in this particular data collection, they would be collecting about the caste, in which caste this child has taken birth, and their religion. Okay, so these information is also very important. So religion. Now on the basis of this, maybe the central office can tell the government that which particular caste is, the population of which particular caste is increasing or decreasing. They can tell the rate. Okay, they can tell the rate, at what rate the population of this particular religion is increasing or decreasing and all. So my point is that these are some of the examples. Like these are some not very basic examples. Maybe you are not knowing all the technicalities of the data collection in these two examples, that how the weather department actually collects data, or how the central or zonal office is actually collecting the data of each and every individual in that particular city or state or whatever, on the or in the country, on the bigger picture, that we are not even aware of, right? How are they actually collecting the data? So they collect data, and they keep on storing these data. These information are being stored in some database. And just imagine that maybe some 4 decades back or 3 decades back, when there were no computers and there was no internet, just imagine how hard it would have been for the members working in these offices or hospitals to manage all these data, right? And when the computers would have entered into the mainstream and in the offices and all, so how they would have collect all those data from the registers, and then they would have stored in the database in the computers and all. So these are very very hectic work. That's not easy. So data collection and all they will maintain these data for every year and for the previous years and for the next coming years and all. On the basis of that, they provide several information to the government or whatever. Okay, so the point is that data collection is actually a collection of, it can be just numbers, it can be collection of just numbers and names, some other alphabets and all. So this is all about data collection. Now just think that actually we are this is all about data collection, right? This is all about data collection and all. So then why we are actually using the term data handling? So for data handling, we actually told you that we discussed that what's actually data handling. They are handling and they're giving you some information on the basis of that. That's some kind of handling. But let's go one step beyond that. Let's take example that what actually we can think of more about data handling. We all know that Google has their data center, right? Google has their data center. I'm just giving an example. Google has its data centers, So in a particular data center, let's say that this is a data center, and what this data center actually do is, I'm just telling you one of its purpose, that like whenever you are searching anything on the Google, okay, you search anything on the Google, whatever keywords you type, okay, so what Google does is it stores all these keywords in its database, in data centers, in its database. It goes on collecting these keywords. Why? Just to improve search functionality of Google, just to know that what different keywords actually people are using all around the world. Okay, so this is one of the purpose of data centers. So even in this data center, let's say that this is a section where they are having their machines where the data are being stored, or the data is being stored here, and there are let's say 100 employees, but out of these 100 employees, only person A, person B, person C, person D, only these 4 people will be having access to this room where these machines have been located. Okay, so this would come under the policy. Google would be having some policies, that this is the policy. Let's say this is policy X. Under policy X, we tell we have these people who have this credentials to have access in this room. So there would be some other policies like who all other people can access this particular room and who all cannot, under what circumstances they can be allowed to enter into this room, and under what circumstances they can't be, under what circumstances they can give these data to the government or any other agencies and all. So it's a whole kind of legal process and all. They would be having some policies, and they would be having some procedures. So procedures could be like, when you enter into this, person A enters into this section, the first thing, the person A will have to show it his or her access card in front of some swiping machine and all. So that person will swap that card, and this person A crosses the first barrier of the protection to enter into this room. Maybe the second section could be like, there would be a machine that would scan the retina of that person A. It would scan the eye, and then it would validate whether the person A has to be granted the access or not. Once it's also clear, then the person A suppose gets entry into this room. So this is about actually the procedures. They will set certain procedures that maybe between 2 to 4 you cannot enter. So the person A's access card or the access of retina would not function. So these can be, certain procedures. Now, if you're thinking that why I'm telling you all these things is that is what actually, all these things come under data handling. There will be certain policies, there will be certain procedures and all, because data handling is not just, limited to what we are going to discuss in our mathematics. Of course, it's a part of mathematics, and mathematics is nothing else but studying the real world, in terms of mathematics. But you have to apply it somewhere in the real life. And I have showed you this example of data centers. I showed you that this example of the zonal office or the central office that is collecting data from the hospitals. I'm sure I have showed you here that how weather department collects data of rainfall, temperature and snow and whatever. So of course they would be having some policies that who all can have access on the database, who all can retrieve the data from this database, what part of the information that is being stored with these offices can be made public that anybody can access, right? So these all things come under data collection and then data handling. The first process is always the data collection. They will collect data many. When they will collect lots of data, then they'll have to handle it. There will be certain policies, there will be certain procedures and all. So this is, some very basic thing of data handling. In the next video, we'll discuss more about data handling.